Okay. Well, welcome both of you in this April 16 class. In our planning, we will talk about care for society, and we were talking about care for community, for the local congregation. So the basic level of care, and the wider level is society, of course. And then we still need also to look at the care for creation, which would be still the wider kind of care for the whole world. And my question was, we already some weeks ago you were sharing about the most pressing issues in society, and it's a very important list, I think, still to consider, and because you are also making this inventory of all kinds of problems the local church community is dealing with, and the different kinds of challenges, the different kinds of problems people are having, spiritual, but also in terms of partnerships, in terms of labor, in terms of age, in terms of gender, and then also, well, including also calamities. And my question was, what are the most pressing issues in the world? So that would be still wider, apart from the problems in the local church community. What are the most pressing issues in the world that call for diaconal response from your church, from the church more in general? Is the church able also to react, to respond on issues, pressing issues in the world? Are there issues you would like to share or to mention in well, apart from what we already shared in about the local community? This is about the world. Godfrey or Habib, what kind of issues you would add?
Godfrey, would you like to share something for us? It would be great.
Okay, Godfrey.
Okay, like we discussed in the previous, especially those things that face the church. I think they are not so much different
Yeah.
than the ones that face the world, especially, for example, like the pandemics or the the previous one that we had in
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
It did affect only the church, during the corona time, but
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it affected the whole world to an extent that
It
the
was a
whole
global
it
calamity.
was a
Right.
global crash that the
Yeah.
whole world stopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one could flew from America to Europe or from
Yeah.
Europe to
Right.
Africa.
Yeah.
So it did not affect the church only, but it was globally. It affected everyone, whether a Muslim, whether an unbeliever, whether a Christian. So I think it's one of them, and another one I would say is famine, because
Famine. Yeah.
when famine hits let's say a country, like it doesn't discriminate whether you're a Christian, whether you're tongue speaking,
Yeah.
whether you know God.
Yeah.
It hits and
Everyone.
everyone, and so that's when sometimes churches come in and assist. I'll give an example from where I come from in Uganda. We've got a place called Karamoja. I don't know if you've heard about
I
it.
know.
You
I'm
said
familiar.
you've been in Uganda.
Yeah. I've
Yes,
been in Soroti. I've been in Soroti.
exactly. So in Karamoja, those people have been hit so much with famine to an extent that previously in the last famine, they found a baby breastfeeding a dead mother.
Yeah.
So
Very bad.
so in such calamities or in such pandemics, that's not we will not say that such is first to a church only, but that is a national issue. That is a global issue, because when even Western world organizations so that they came in and they gave in hope, including the churches in Uganda. And basically, I don't know if Habib can contribute more about that, but to me, I think those are not only church issues, but they are global issues. Famine and some pandemics, like those widely spreading diseases. Like I had China is manufacturing another one for us. So such things. So I don't know if Habib can contribute more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Habib.
But it's really good what you said, Godfrey. Thank you, because you already share some good parts of the things that can happen globally. Yeah, which is, I don't know if my input is relevant, but I will still give it a try. Yeah, one of the most pressing issues in the world today that I really see is division. This division from people, family and friends, community against community, family against family, relationship against relationship, and one of the central part of them is religion. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, religion, about who is right and who is wrong, who is righteous and who is bad, who is God's calling and who is not, and who is the leader and who is not the leader, and who have the truth and who don't have the truth. And this is the one of the biggest key that I see that really separates we humanity, that makes us now in a lot of form, that everybody's now trying to build an empire that resemble himself, who wants to be the leader and who don't want to, and who is not the truthful one. And I see that.
Could you give an example of this conflict between people or between families?
Yeah, for me, I come from a diverse religious culture where Islam and Christianity live together in harmony. And when it grows and the society are against it, so they don't welcome that, so they make the feelings of the people become negative. Even when they have the feelings in a positive beginning, then it becomes very negative because of the respondent of the community, on how people respond to what you believe. And I see that countries are against each other because of politics. And I know, according to history of religion, politics started from faith, and it started from religion. And now that the religion also is separating from the politics is separating from religion, and the division keeps on more broader and more broader, when even the politics don't want to work according to the religion. And it's a complete different world when politics started from religion. So one of the biggest problem I see in the world is division, and it's in several part of it, and that is what makes me fear a lot. Yeah.
So you see it as a global problem.
It is a global problem. It is all over. If we look to the war that is everywhere in our world today, it is either it's because of religion and politics together, put together. That is why all this war are existing in everywhere. So it's always evolving, according to my thinking. Yeah.
Well, that's an important observation, I think, because there are religious wars going on, and one of the things you can see is that there are always this how do you say, this kind of conflict between majority and minority
Yeah.
religious groups.
Yes.
And sometimes it's about, well, it's about competition, or it's about power struggle. But you're right, religion is playing a role.
Mm-hmm.
At the same
Yeah.
time, we should say it should never play a role, but you're right, it is playing a role. Yeah.
Thank you,
Because
sir.
the other example could be this war of Russia and Ukraine is a war of Christians, and
Yeah.
they are from they both are from the same Orthodox Church tradition, and it's
Mhm.
sad that Christians also are making conflict among them,
Mm. Yeah.
between them.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's important. I would like to add still. Godfrey was talking about famine.
Yeah.
There's all this relation between civil war and famine in the example of Sudan, actually,
Mhm.
because that's also a country where people are starving actually,
Yeah.
because of lack of help, because of lack of support, and there are hundreds of thousands of people
Mm. Yeah.
living in very, very bad situation because of war, because of conflict. You had famine could be also because of nature, because of disaster, but also because of war. So that's another relation, I think. When you talk about pressing issues, the well, the wars that they are still there and they are still going on. Okay, and then Honor, welcome to our class. What would you like to add to this question of pressing issues in the world? We were talking about now more global issues and global challenges.
Yeah, thank you very much. My laptop was a bit has a lot of problem. That's why I came late.
Yeah.
So
But how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, my opinion on this subject or topic is still require of our faith, because this pressing issue in this world mostly like hunger, like how to reach out to those in war, like Palestine and Israel.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the other day, I'm a very beginner, a fashion designer. So there is this movement here in at the University here of Utrecht. There are
Yeah.
faculty of what is they call themselves? They are medical science students.
Yeah.
So they they invite us because we often refer ourselves when we get an invitation to some places. We often refer ourselves as a unifier or
Yeah.
a peacemaker.
Okay. Yeah.
They-
You called House of Peace. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I normally call our fashion design as a unifier, not just as a peacemaker.
Okay. Okay.
So I went to that school to give a presentation there. So those group of students, they invite us for a fashion show.
Yeah.
So when they invite us for a fashion show, there I went there with a lot of our clothing.
Okay.
So people came, they thought they wanted to support us. They buy a lot. After the fashion show. People bought a lot, but they are pro-Palestinian students who are fighting for the student over there as a medical student. They support them with a lot of just medical support and pay for their bills and everything.
Okay.
So me, I'm a refugee, so I also need support.
Yeah.
So this group was today. We end up we sold a lot of jacket that day, but so something within me said to me, since you call yourself a unifier or
Yeah.
a peacemaker, give the money that you sold your jacket.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So somebody like me in the Netherlands, so I have to give a lot of money.
Yeah.
So because that's who I call myself. That is
Yeah,
that's our faith.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
also have to say to help people who are in need in terms of war.
yeah,
So not just in terms of war, because we war with so many things in society. We war with everything. When it's war, it's war. So these are the pressing issue that I see for now globally. Is this they've already said it all. Globally, is all this issue of war, how to reach out to those people. Uh, I also care for environment that you live.
yeah,
To protect war not to come to where you live.
yeah, yeah.
Also have to the Bible said he was sending the children of Israel to a certain country, and he said when they go there, they should seek for the peace of the people.
Yeah.
Their peace, they also have peace. So I see this as care for the whole world, both where you live as a Netherlands and
Yeah.
also far away.
Okay. That's important
So,
message.
yeah, because I don't also need people to care. Otherwise, people will be caring for me. So I
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mustn't be the one that they care for. We have to care for them. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
also see the peace of where I live.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, yeah. You're right. And one of the pressing issues in actually is this war in the Middle East between Palestine and Israel, and more in particular for the church also. It's a pressing issue because it's very sensitive, very difficult to open a conversation or to have a reflection within the church about this whole conflict in the Middle East. It is so sensitive that people don't want to discuss, don't want to talk about, and because there are different positions, there are different opinions.
yeah.
It's about, of course, it's about the relation to the people of Israel because of the Bible, because of the promised land. And of course, it's also the relation with the Palestinians, Muslims and Christians, both. So it is really very complicated, this whole situation. And
Oh,
we could also discuss it, try to discuss it, but it's difficult also to discuss it. Yeah.
because here the coordinator of where we work,
Yeah.
as a Christian, the Bible says we should pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, so I brought this kind of request that this group of students asked me to make clothes for the people in Palestine. He said,
Yeah.
"Oh no, but we are Christian."
Yeah. Yeah.
You see the kind of faith. I
Yeah.
said, "But I'm a Christian, but I'm a unifier." So,
But there are also Christians in Palestine. So that's one of the issues as well. And it's of course a very old conflict between the Jews and the Muslims and the Christians for so many centuries. The Middle East has been a place of conflict, and it is a place of conflict, in fact, without perspectives or without hope or hope on peace. Therefore, it's so important your mission as a unifying mission, how to bring together
yes,
those different religions or those different religious people as well. And then it's when you talk about peace on Jerusalem, it is of course peace among the nations or peace among the religions as well.
yes,
That there is this saying that peace among the nations begins always with peace among the religions. Because as long as the religions are not in peace, there will be no peace.
there will be no peace.
No. Habib was talking about politics as well, because well, that is then the put it in practice, your religion also. But it is, of course, this whole history of conflict, yeah, among the religions. That's very sad, but it's part of it is true. Welcome also to Deborah. How are you, Deborah?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just a bit under the weather, but otherwise fine.
Okay. So we were talking about the most pressing issues in the world. I'm not sure if you heard what Anna said and what Habib said or Godfrey said. No, you were not there, but
No, yeah, I came in a bit late, so I
could you
was.
share what is the most pressing issue in the world, globally, which is calling for a diaconal response? But what would you
Yeah,
say?
I think one of the most pressing issues right now, especially from what I've seen, is a lack of human connection. Like in terms of it's like there's a lot of people are more like united but not united because we think we are united through things like social media, and there is nobody really there to listen.
Yeah.
So there's to listen to what somebody else is passing through, because usually people put out their best, like the best moments, but they hide their scars behind the cameras. And at the end of the day, we have a hurting world, but nobody really there to really touch the lives of the people. So I think what is for me, what really is really needed now is more like empathy, because um, an extension of love, for people need to feel that they are really loved and that they're not just loved for show, but they are loved for who they are, that they're accepted for who they are, in order for them to realize the love that is there in Christ. So it happens also in the church, whereby everybody brings out their best friends in church, and nobody really wants to show the scars. It's all a perfect church. Everybody's singing praises and showing love to one another, which is also sometimes artificial love, but not really. Nobody's really touching the heart of the other person. Like very few churches would do that. So I feel there's a big need for that empathy in the world today.
But you think that's a global problem, a global issue, this whole lack of connection, of connectivity, or
I feel it is, because I think we've seen cases like worldwide of people like they were smiling one day and they're committing suicide the next day.
okay.
And so for me, I think I see that as a big need for people to really, really feel that they are loved and accepted for who they are and not for who they appear to be. So yeah, and I think some of the things that we see happening around are as a result of what is really happening in the hearts of the people.
Yeah, sometimes people say it is about the individualism. People are living as individuals, not as community or not as together. But I always understood that is a problem of Europe of European countries, and that in Africa it is different.
I think oh, sorry.
In Africa, and we then use this expression of Ubuntu. That Africa is less. The people in Africa are more connected than people in Europe. Is that true or not?
I think we're also losing the connection somehow. I think because I think for example, like I was in Mozambique, and I saw like there was a lot of connection among the foreigners because you're in a strange place and
Yeah.
things like that. So you tend to connect and help one another. So I was thinking, okay, if I go back home to my real family, then I will get the real help because that is my real family. But then when I came back home, it was different. Each person is living for them.
Okay.
So yeah, so that has also crept into our society. I think also the the culture has changed. Things are hard, and everybody's only trying to take care of the nuclear family, and everybody's chasing after their dreams, and nobody really, the Ubuntu, we're somehow losing the Ubuntu, because I don't know whether we're emulating Western culture.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like we're really losing that somehow, and we're more becoming. I think that we're becoming more like a global village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting observation, of course. And then with the question mark, how to solve then this problem?
Yes.
What should change? What should be changed in order that people are feeling more connection with each other? So it's a different kind of problem than the famine or war or
Mm-hmm.
conflict, of course, and because that's in fact more extreme, even more, of course, when people are not willing to or even are opposed to the other.
Yes. Yes. I think if people, like, if we feel more for the others, it becomes easier to help even in times of famine, in times of famines, in times of if somebody's going through a hard time, if people are starving in a place, or if there's a natural disaster, it's very easy to come in and help because you feel what the other person is feeling.
Yeah.
But if it's just me and me, then it's not really easy to reach out unless you want to do that for fame or for show. So yeah, yeah.
But could the church then be of help in changing the people, the mind of the people?
Yeah, I think so, because I think we've seen also a change in how churches operate. Like it's more also like we also do a lot on social media. So if we can go out to do, like, instead of calling up people, how are you? Or if somebody has a funeral now, people, they just call on the phone sometimes just to find out what is going on. Because before, people would actually reach out and come and see you and sit down with you, even if it's not for a long time, but just be there.
Yeah.
So now it's more like, okay, just picking up the phone and finding out how the person is. And sometimes, like some churches, from what I've seen, they'll call you on a Saturday because they want you to come to church on a Sunday.
Okay.
So yeah, so that doesn't really work especially if somebody is really going through a hard time. So I think if the church, we can set the example as a church and really step out and reach to the people, then that would show a difference from what everybody else is doing in society. Then people
Okay.
would know that they still love, and that would contaminate in a positive way. Like people would feel the human touch, they would feel the human affection, and that would help them to reach out to the next person, especially if you're able to reach them with the gospel.
Yeah.
That would help them to reach out even to the people that they work with. Wherever they'll go, they'll be able to show that, which would be beyond just the social media thing. The social media thing, it would be more real and authentic. Yes, I think.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, well, that's of course an important mission for the church then. It's important also to think about how to organize or how to change this attitude, or how to change or how to be open to the other.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, well, thank you for sharing. And still we need, of course, to continue to share. I would like to continue with some observations, and I will take some examples from the Netherlands to begin with, or and more general, and that's my sharing, of course, in the first place. When we
Okay.
talk about this organized diaconia or this institutionalized diaconia, because what Deborah was saying is also starting at local level. When you talk about the church, it's not about the church far away or the church office. It's about the local church community, of course. There it starts. It all starts at welcoming people and then being interested in people and being with the other, as we were talking about it last time. It's about being with, being present, being with the other. and the other is, of course, are all the others nearby and far away. But it starts nearby, of course. So, well, just taking what we were doing last week or so, talking about these different levels of diaconia. And we talked already about the ministry of all believers. We started to talk about the local congregation, and then it's also about the church structures, because the local congregation, not always, but in many examples, is part of a wider structure, is part of a denomination, for example. So organized diaconia, and that's of course also related to the document I shared and the document of the Lutheran World Federation. Organized diaconia is related to the denomination, you could say, and there are of course different levels of denomination. Urban, organized within a bigger city, and well, in the bigger cities, also in the Netherlands, there are more local congregations together forming an urban council of church, or an urban network of churches. It could be regional, it could be national, and so on. So many of the denominations we are related to, or perhaps you are related to as well, are having also these different levels of structures, and they are also the different the different traditions, Protestant or evangelical or Pentecostal. There's Roman Catholic. There are still other traditions, Apostolic, Baptist, and so on. There are lots of different traditions, and they are all having their own structures, of course. And you could of course hope that they are working together if necessary, if possible. My tradition is Protestant, and the name of my church is Protestant Church in the Netherlands. So that's one tradition. And within our tradition, our Protestant church, there are different traditions fused, or they came together within the Protestant church. The more Calvinistic or the more Presbyterian tradition, the Lutheran tradition. But their structures are part also of caring for the world. And they are organized because they care for the world. There are those evangelical churches in Europe, in Africa, in the United States. There are the Pentecostal networks in almost every country in the world, and of course, the Roman Catholic is a very important aspect of part of Christianity. Half of Christians in the world is a member of the Roman Catholic Church. So the Roman Catholic Church is the biggest network, to say so. Also in terms of diaconia in the world. About 1 billion Christians, and they are well organized in all kinds of orders, congregations, organizations, and so on. So we should look at this possibility of organized diaconia in the wider networks as well. So it starts with a denomination. Are your local congregations part of some denomination, or are they independent? Honor and Habib, is your church congregation part of a denomination?
Yeah, I think House of Prayer here is not part of a denomination.
You're
It's just
independent.
it's independent.
And Godfrey, is your church community part of a denomination or independent?
Yes, it's a Pentecostal.
Yeah, it is a Pentecostal denomination.
Yes, a Pentecostal denomination.
International?
Yeah, of course, because in Uganda, actually, the prevailing one is so much of a Pentecostal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a few, like the Baptists are there, the Evangelicals, the
Church of Uganda, the Anglican Church.
The Anglican Church, yes, and then
the Roman Catholic Church.
The Roman, the Redeemed Church. Yeah, but mainly the dominant,
Yeah.
apart from the Catholic and the Protestant, it's the Pentecostal denomination.
And there are different Pentecostal denominations?
I don't think so.
Okay, okay.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
Except for there are some who come independent. They
Yeah.
will fall under the Pentecostal teachings
Yeah.
and belief,
Oh,
but
okay.
they will be a bit independent. Like within America, there are a lot of Pentecostal
Yeah.
preachers, but under their own brands.
Yeah.
Like you hear them, their ministries are named after their names.
Yeah. Oh.
Such things. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And Deborah, is your local church community part of a denomination? Well, she didn't hear me. Deborah?
Yes, our churches, it's under the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia. It's Pentecostal.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
And it's part of the Evangelical Fellowship.
yes.
Ah, okay, interesting. So, and that's international, of course. The Evangelical Fellowship is also an international network of evangelical churches.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good to know.
Yes.
Yeah, because then at the same time, there are those different traditions and different denominations. The importance of an interdenominational kind of care for the world. Churches, they should work together if possible. And then there are also of those different levels. There are councils of churches. In most countries, I think, in the world, there are national councils of churches, bringing together the different denominations, the different traditions. In the Netherlands, there is this Dutch of the Netherlands Council of Churches, of which, and I'm not sure about how many denominations, let's say 20, 25, are member. And there is, of course, also this network of interdenominational network of migrant churches in the Netherlands. I will give the example later on. And migrant churches, of course, are organized within their own tradition, but also among the different migrant church communities. And that's, of course, an important kind of networking, like the international churches more in general, because there are also many international churches, mostly English or French speaking, welcoming people from different nationalities. It is about the importance, that's why I'm mentioning it, the importance of working together as church, as denomination, when it comes to care for the world. So I also will relate it to the Diaconia mission. It's the mission of the church also, not to compete, but to collaborate among them. So then I will share something about my own church in terms of its mission and diaconal work. Because I told you that I worked abroad on behalf of my church, and the church organization, the missionary and diaconal church organization, is called Kerk in Actie in Dutch, which means in English church in action. So I will share about this my church organization for diaconia, and that's also diaconia or care at national level and also at international level. And I'm taking also mentioning the website of the church. I'm not sure if I put it here. No, I will do so. I'm taking the introduction the church is given about its diaconal service to the world. So we are the church in action, the Protestant church in the Netherlands. And you know that the Protestant church in the Netherlands is the mainline Protestant church in the Netherlands. So it is one of the most numerous churches. We are the Protestant church in the Netherlands, 2.5 million members, and 1,450 local congregations are active on behalf of their fellow men and women, near and far, no one excluded. All are welcome. Touched and inspired by Jesus Christ and the Bible's call to take care of widows and orphans, prisoners and refugees. It's our calling to share what we have received. So it is about serving and sharing. It's about the calling of the church. That's it. That's important to to share, to be also a witness of the gospel as a church. So it's about sharing, and we share, we serve the church by sharing what we have received: money, knowledge, experience, time. We do this at home and abroad. We encourage others to share too, for example, by collecting money or by doing voluntary work. We believe in sharing with, and those, what here comes, are the programs the church is having. So the church is having a diaconal program at home and abroad. So there are different projects and different kinds of activity within the Netherlands organized by the Protestant Church, by Church in Action. And there are programs and projects abroad in many countries. I'm not sure about the exact number, but in countries in Africa and Asia and also in Latin America. And these are the programs, in fact, the church is organizing. For example, the program People in Emergency Situations. And we were talking about famine, but we could also give the example of natural disaster. 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, there was this earthquake in Myanmar, formerly called Burma, in Asia, and the church is supporting an emergency program to help people in Myanmar. And the church is having that kind of emergency support in different parts of the world, if necessary. So that's a calling of the church to be there where it's needy, where it's needed. People in search of safety, and this whole problem of civil war, conflicts, and we were talking about religious wars, religious conflicts, trying to reach out in the case of the Middle East, trying to connect and to Israel and also to Gaza, to Palestine, connect also to churches in Syria and other parts of the Middle East, to reach out to this this whole problem of unsafety because of natural disasters as well, because of climate change, which is another program of churches. People in poverty, and we were talking about famine, but more in general, the church is supporting programs to alleviate the problems of people in poverty. So those are also, those are more or less interconnected. This kind of support is support because of different reasons, because of different different backgrounds coming together in emergency situations. Then we were talking about religious conflicts, supporting Christians, more specifically Christians in minority situations. And that's another challenge in many countries where Christians are minority. Their position is being threatened. They are being threatened, so they need support to be supported. That could be because of other religions. The problem or the challenge of being a minority in majority religious, and then the example could be majority Muslim, majority Hindu, majority Buddhist countries where because of the religion Christians are having problems, or related also to churches in vulnerable places. And that could be related also to climate change or to civil war or to natural disasters. So then that's a focus of church relations then more specifically as well, and which is tradition of the church, as we were reading in the book of Acts, how the churches were asked to help each other. And the richer should help the poorer. And that's not only individually, but also in terms of communities. So that's another program of Church in Action. More specifically also focus on children and youth. In many parts of the world, children are everywhere, also in the Netherlands itself, everywhere children are always the most vulnerable, of course, because of their age, because of their situation. It is important to have this focus on children in terms of healthcare, in terms of education. As we were saying, education should be for all children. So in terms of schools, which also is part of the diaconal calling of the churches, in many countries, to begin with, also here in Europe, the diaconal program started, as I explained, started in the church with Sunday school. The example of UK, of the United Kingdom, where working children started to go to school on Sunday because it was the only day they were able to do so. So Sunday school played an important role in the history of education. And then I know in Uganda, for example, that many schools were church founded by the Church of Uganda or by the Roman Catholic Church. And well, of course, the government took over the responsibility of education, but still many schools are church founded. So that's another example of a focus. Here in the Netherlands, as I explained, it's not necessary because the government is financing education.
Not
And-
only schools, there are also hospitals founded by
Yeah.
churches.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also universities based on beliefs.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So it's a wide thing.
Yeah, it's a wide thing. Yeah, so that's important to emphasize that during the history of the church, church was always related and involved in education and in healthcare, and still is in many places in the world. Nowadays, the government, of course, took over or is perhaps taking over, but at least collaborating, and at least it is a kind of cooperation between church and state, or church and government. So this focus on children and youth is, of course, a very important one, because it's also related to vocational training, as I know. In many parts of the world, not only the primary school, but also vocational schools were church founded, and that's related to youth. That's related also to vocational perspectives, or to labor perspectives. And then, you were sharing about your unifying mission, your peacemaking mission, as Anna was explaining. So that's another more general focus of diaconia, and also in this organization, Church in Action, they are also involved in bridge building and peacemaking. That's another calling of the church, and I think you could call that also a diaconal calling, because that's caring for the world, bringing peace, unifying what is not unified. So these are the main programs, or the main objectives of Church in Action, this department of my Protestant church. And then it is, in the first place, sharing what it expressed here, what we received, sharing money. It is a fundraising department, so they are organizing collections, offerings in a kind of annual schedule for those different programs, those different goals and objectives. They are also sharing knowledge, because that's another aspect we need to see. that diaconia, and in fact also, needs to be professional. Not necessarily of all believers, but it needs to be coordinated by people who know what they are doing. So in the example of Honor and Habib, I think that's already an interesting step on, a step forward, making this diaconal caring for the world a more professional, a more vocational caring as well. So knowledge is important to share, and therefore also this, what we are doing also is important, sharing experiences, sharing time. One of the conditions for caring for the world or for diaconia is commitment. So that is, of course, sharing your time and being and willing to do so, willing to give your time as well, your talent, your capacity to this caring for the world. And because it is in the first place, of course, it is the calling in itself, but then the next step is, of course, to contribute with your capacity, to contribute with your knowledge, with your experience in this whole responsibility of caring for the world. But this department, of course, as I said, is fundraising, is of course also sending. As I was working abroad, there are other people, nowadays less than before, but being sent to teach, as I did. I taught at theological schools, being sent to teach, but also related to different kinds of programs, agricultural programs, urban programs, specific programs on children and youth, specific programs in emergency situations. And nowadays, it's not only this church department. There are many, what we were calling non-governmental organizations being involved in this kind of programs. So it's also sharing people, in fact, sharing individual people, sharing teams, and sending voluntary, if necessary, people to help where it's necessary. I know the example in the past also of exchange programs for building schools or sharing educational materials, because education is one of those aspects of life in which we are able to share, perhaps easier, and nowadays by Zoom it's still more easier than many other, because then you don't need to travel, you don't need, you could already directly share. So we share. That is the main issue of this department of the Protestant Church. And then they add, we support and we identify. We serve the church by providing advice, inspiration, and materials to people and congregations all over the world. Church social services, committees for global ministries, and partner organizations can count on our commitment, staff, and financial support. We identify. We serve the church by identifying abuse and injustice worldwide. We expose these issues and act on them, thus acting as a voice for those who are not heard in the public and political arena. Acting as voice for the voiceless. That's a missionary and diaconal calling, I think, to emphasize here as well. So it's about serving through advice, through inspiration and materials, developing materials, organizing diaconal work. Because it's not easy to prioritize, for example. It's not easy to know the answer to all those different challenges. And we were talking about nearby and far away. This whole aspect of material or financial support, which also is always an issue. And money is playing a key role when it comes to improving situations, to come to solutions, in relation to all those global conflicts and problems. How to solve famine, how to solve natural, how to can respond to natural disasters. So that aspect of advice, of materials, is really a part of the organization of Diaconia. And the same, of course, to be very clear, and we were talking about those political this wars and conflicts, religious and also global. So then it's really about abuse and injustice, about this whole relation between this whole problem between majority using their power and minorities suffering and being the victim of the abuse of power of majorities, and more in general, this whole aspect of human relations. You were talking about as well, Deborah, this whole aspect of individualism, of not being interested in the other. So these are the objectives or the goals of Kerk in Actie, Church in Action, the missionary and diaconal department of the Protestant Church in the Netherlands. Anything you would like to ask, or anything I should explain more in detail? I will add here also the link to the website. Well, it's of course, the website is in Dutch, I need to say. This information is only the English part of the website. But if you're interested, of course, I will send the link at least. And if you do have questions about their programs or their projects, I'm here to answer to your questions, of course. So this is the example I would like to share on behalf of my church, and I think it's still an interesting example of how a church could organize its diaconia. And it's of course with a staff. The central office is in Utrecht, the central office of the church, and there are different departments working together to develop and to apply the different programs I was talking about. Well, then I continue with the other examples I would like to share and to add. One is about and then of course this also is a link to a website in Dutch, to the migrant network, the migrant organization in the Netherlands, which is called SKIN. But they are playing a role also when it comes to the structure or the structuring of diaconal work. I'm not sure if you are familiar with SKIN, and then I'm asking Habib and Honor and Godfrey.
Yeah, with the skin, I think I just know a little bit of it.
Okay.
Because I know the most of the churches we have that we know in the province of Utrecht.
Yeah,
It's like
Utrecht.
Protestant. It's like
Yeah.
this scheme, because they support a lot of organization like Fila Freda. We know them through this organization because we can see the logo in so many projects they do.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, so Samen Kerk in Nederland, which means together, being together church in the Netherlands. And if you're interested, this is the website. And they are offering perhaps an interesting program in terms of what I think also is a diaconal responsibility, an empowerment for all. Are you passionate about supporting your community through the church? Do you want to understand the impact of poverty? Here we were talking about poverty, and how to offer practical help through a faith-based lens? Join our 3-part financial empowerment training series designed especially for churches and their members. The SKIN Financial Empowerment for All. So, and these are the highlights of the course. What does the Bible say about financial struggles? Helping people how to and how to not to the mental impact of poverty and the importance of hope, the government, its offer, how to deal with people's mistrust, the role of the church in its signaling. So it's about, well, this aspect of local diaconia, and the financial aspect of it, this whole mental problem of poverty, and then the relation to the government, because the government not necessarily is always open to those who are in need. Is not necessarily always responding, and it is not necessarily finding the good answers to it. So if you're interested, you can participate and register, writing to this email address here. So this is for your information, for those who are interested. And I suppose that the training is in English.
Yeah, thank you very much for the information. Indeed.
And I'll send you, of course, a PowerPoint. And
Okay,
then
sir.
still with the examples I shared before a little bit already. So for Deborah, it's far away, because it's only about the Netherlands here. There is also a skin in the city of Rotterdam. So that's the local network of migrant churches. Also with the link, there is also a skin in Amsterdam, a
Okay.
local network, and
Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
and there is in Amsterdam the example of the diaconal department of the Protestant Church at the local level, at urban level. It's called Protestant Diaconie. And there is in The Hague, I already previously mentioned Tables of Hope. There is this foundation called STEC, which means the city and the church, Stad en Kerk. So this is for your information. If you're interested, I could give you more details. And I could find other details abroad, not only in the Netherlands, which I will share also through the PowerPoint, which may be more interesting for Deborah as well, because this is only at the national level of the Netherlands. So we were talking about the organized diaconia. All those examples I gave are in fact related to the organized diaconia. There's also the so-called institutionalized diaconia, which is this whole network of non-governmental organizations, and the global networks. I would like to say the global networks, and I will try to make some more general observations on this global aspect of diaconia and development, because then it's about also the wider objective of diaconia and development at global scale. Shall we take a little break?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, we take a little break then.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
10 minutes? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Shall we continue? So at the end of our class of last week, I already used these slides about diaconia and development. It's about this level of institutionalized, this whole global aspect of caring for the world and the global aspect of diaconia. So it is a level which is for us the international aspect of diaconia, but also the development aspect of diaconia. And then it's including all kinds of areas, all kinds of, well, what has to do with development. This word development we still could reflect on. And I added, and I mentioned already, I shared the so-called SDGs. Are you familiar with this whole program of the United Nations? Have you read or have you seen this before? Because this is in fact an inventory of all global problems, all global challenges to which the church also should respond, or to which Christians also should respond. And it is, we could not solve the problems of the world, of course, but this is a program started by the United Nations, which is in fact focusing on the year 2030, and now people are saying 2050, to a situation in which the world has been improved in all those different areas. And the most important and pressing issue is poverty. There should be no poverty, of course. Is hunger. No, zero hunger. Health, education. And those are the basic issues when it comes to caring for the world. It should start with those goals: no poverty, no hunger, good health, and good education. And there are 17, and we will not go into all those details. There are different levels, you could say, as well, and I'm adding this one here. So the different aspects of life, you could say, as well. Poverty and hunger and reduced inequalities. And this is another challenge related to poverty and hunger. Good health is related to clean water and also clean energy, or having clean energy. Decent work is related to the possibility, of course, of jobs. Is also related to a situation of peace and institutions which are promoting peace. Quality education is also related to gender quality, as we will see, because education is for all, including men and women in the same way. Sustainable cities and communities. We should have, and our children also should have perspective of a decent life, related to decent food, related also to all the other aspects of quality of life. And then that's still an aspect we should talk about and reflect on: climate action, related to clean water and also to clean air, in fact. So those are this is a kind of more specific, let's say specific, different groups of goals. Is this new to you, this whole aspect of sustainable development? Do you think it's important to relate it to the diaconia and to caring for the world by the church? What would you say is the most important goal of those different goals here?
I think there is quite a lot of option. A lot. I think almost everything that is recommended. There is
A lot.
always something to do. Yeah, like we were talking about separation. It's about gender equality,
Yeah,
and people also separate their families because of their choice of gender.
yeah, yeah,
Zero hunger, of course.
yeah,
Reduce inequalities. Yeah,
yeah,
no poverty, good health and well-being,
yeah.
and quality education, especially education.
Education is
Yeah,
important. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, people say it starts with education, in fact.
It's the one that speaks more straight to me, education. Because when you learn to know what to do, then you know what to do. If you
Yeah,
don't know what to do, then you cannot know what to do.
right, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Other contributions? What do you say, Habib or Godfrey or Deborah?
Yeah, the answer to this problem here is just a quality education, because a quality education trust is a transgenerational achievement.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So once you are educated quality on even your gender aspect, you can also be enlightened to know who you are and your problems are solved. So it's just a quality education that everyone. If there should be uh, quality education for children, so they can not just for adults, but as a child, you have a quality education in terms of then you can know what to do, what is right.
Yeah, I agree, of course, that it starts with primary education, with primary school education, and it starts also with the accessibility. The children, all children should have the right. They have the right and should have also the access to education, and the world still needs to work on that. That's a very Christian kind of a goal as well. And as I mentioned, Reformation started with founding primary schools because there was not a tradition of primary schooling in Europe neither in times in this era of Reformation. So Martin Luther, the first reformer, started with the foundation of primary schools so that children were able to learn to read and to write. And there it started. So it is still going on because still not all children are going to school, are having this possibility to quality education, and that's an important aspect, of course, as well. Quality education. Therefore, you should always add vocational training, the possibility to continue your education at secondary level and if possible at higher educational levels. So quality education is for all, and including boys and girls, of course. And there are countries in which for girls it's more complicated to go to school. Other opinions or other contributions to this sustainable development goals? Godfrey?
With me, I think also good health and well-being is
Yeah,
something that is crucial.
yeah,
And 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 uh, and also the peace and justice and strong institutions.
Yeah.
Because especially in Africa, where I come from, institutions are not working independently. Yeah, it's not like in this way Western worlds where institutions work independently. You see, like the church here, the church in action, and work independently to support even people outside its jurisdiction. But when it comes to some African countries, the institutions cannot work independently. If the church has got so much money, then politics will come in. Where do they get the funding? Are they being funded by the rebel groups? Are they, such things? So, but I think if there is peace and justice and strong institutions, I think also that can help to sustain, because if the institutions are not working, even the quality education won't be available. Because also still in Africa, where I come from, there's a lot of donated money or donations that come from the Western world.
Yeah.
Money that ends up with the big people's stomach.
Yeah.
That things will not be done locally on the ground. Yet others are becoming so rich, stealing this money. Yet others are still suffering and even suffering the more, because someone is eating the money that would have helped someone down. It's a common action in Africa that someone will show off with cars. Someone possessing 10 cars that he cannot drive at once, when there is someone who doesn't have a desk or who is studying under the tree. And these 10 cars would have built a classroom structure for a community, but someone is just enjoying 10 cars that he cannot even drive at once. So, but it's all about the structures and the systems, because such a person, because they are still in power, they've got power, no one can accuse them while others are suffering and everything. So I think also structures and institutions, strong institutions also matter.
Right, and then they are related to this goal of reduced inequalities, of course, as well.
Yes.
Because they should guarantee equality, equal treating of people, equal position. So that's an important.
And also, it is related to this industrial innovation and infrastructure, because if there is balance in resources, then the development will come, and it will benefit everyone. Like you see, I always give an example of the Netherlands. Here, when we go to like Albertine or Yumbo, the rich and the poor, we buy things at the same price. We go to the same casa. Whether you park the Lamborghini there or a Tesla, and I come on the bicycle, once we get out of the Yumbo, we've paid the same money. We've no one is exploited. But because of the structure, the system the system favors everyone. But in where we come from, the system sometimes favors one person, and the rest of the people are being oppressed.
So then it's still also about this relation between global and national and local. They are related, of course.
Exactly.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to add some, and that's what I'm taking from the document. The dimensions mentioned between diaconia and development, because we're talking about development. Those sustainable development goals are, of course, about development, the development of a situation of no poverty, no hunger, and so on. It is the human rights dimension, stating that human rights principles are the legal expressions of the God-given dignity of every human person, which the Church is called to protect and to promote, and that the right to development involves the realization of all human rights, economic, social, cultural, as well as civil and political rights. So Well, there's a lot of discussion always about human rights in different parts of the world, in different situations and so on. But the most important aspect of human right is this, well, this being created to the image of God. It is about this, and I like the expression, God-given dignity of every human person. There is no distinction. We are all equal because of being created by God and created to the image of God. So it is about the right we all are having and the right to all what God is giving to the world, to creation. So we should never make distinctions, and the church should protect every human being in this sense. The church is called to protect and to promote dignity of every human person. And it is, and we were talking about the right to quality education, the right also to quality healthcare. It is all those different aspects of human rights. And we are in many ways talking about the political human rights, but it is of course including also economic and social and cultural human rights. The right to have a job, which is a right, of course, but which is not necessarily accessible for all. And the right to education has to do with the society, is social, is cultural as well. So all those rights the church is called to protect. And that's one of the reasons why church is involved in diaconia. At local level, we were talking about, but this is about the global issues, and the church should work as a global network of organizations, of denominations, to promote human rights. That's the first dimension. The second is the gender dimension, stating that the protection and promotion of human rights of women are fundamental to the sustainability of development. That sustainable development requires gender equality and the full leadership of women in all development processes, and that all assessment, planning, monitoring, evaluation in development work requires a gender perspective and analysis which values the work and experience of women. It is necessary to also to add this dimension, because in practice it's not necessarily true that women are treated equally in this whole aspect of goals and programs, and that in many countries and in many situations, women are not having this equal rights, that women are not treated as dignified persons, are not dignified as persons. So when it comes to development, and it's about diaconia, I know that in many churches it's not necessarily that diaconal ministry is female ministry as well. In many churches there is discussion about the position of women, while at the same time we know that many church communities are church communities composed by women in the first place. So it is a discussion, and it's about ministry. It's about diaconal ministry, pastoral ministry. Therefore, it's important to mention this dimension, I think. What do you think? How's the situation in your church when it comes to the position of women and the rights of women? Are they having an equal position within your church community?
Of course, I
Um,
think
yeah,
Yeah.
In my church, the women rights actually protected, and we just treat them as equally as men when it comes to expressing ministry. We believe that women also, can be used of God to minister the word of God, and to do other aspects of ministries. But there are some churches where women are not allowed to preach or to become a pastor or a leader. Things of doctrinal matter, and it differs across churches.
Okay, and in your church, Godfrey?
in my church, since women outnumber men.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and I
in
think
in many churches, in many churches.
churches, I think this cuts across to many churches. So I think they are given responsibilities,
Yeah,
different responsibilities, and they run the ministry, though,
yeah,
like the Bible says, they are weaker vessels. Sometimes they run ministries with emotions.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah, so that's when you find that.
but there are female ministers in your church.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
But I have a question
Yeah.
about this gender dimension.
Yeah.
Since you were pastor in the Anglican Church of the Netherlands,
Yeah.
what does the church in the Netherlands, the Anglican Church, say about this gender, especially the gender orientation now that is taking a toll?
Well, that's in fact
the
another
Netherlands?
question. But it's okay. That's another question, but because then
Yes.
you're talking about the definition of gender.
Mhm.
This
Actually,
is
yeah.
this is about the equality of men and women in general, because of the fact that in many situations, even in the Netherlands, there is this aspect of salary that in general, in the same with the same experience and education and job experience, women are not earning the same salary as men. So there are still those kind of inequalities going on. It's about equality in the first place in this dimension. And well, there are countries in which women are not allowed to go to school. The example of Afghanistan, and which is perhaps the most extreme example of a situation in which women are not allowed to go public. In fact, they are just allowed to stay at home. So that is of course a very extreme situation, but in general, it's still about this this goal that women should have the same right as men. So that's the gender dimension meant here. Your question is a more sensitive political question in many countries nowadays, as we know, the example of United States and the president of United States, who is now changing the legislation and just and not recognizing this aspect of a third gender, or this aspect of transgender, which is then about the definition of gender. So that, well, we could also discuss about this question. In most churches, it's not part of the discussion, I think. Still, it should be perhaps, and it could be, because then it's about this whole aspect of third gender, or how to define gender. In general, churches are not necessarily involved in this discussion yet. In church, it's still also even in my church, I should say, in my church, the Protestant church in the Netherlands, there are congregations which are not recognizing female ministry. So they are allowed. It's part of the how do you say, the openness of the church, that congregations could decide on their own if they accept female ministry or not. So within there is one denomination in the Netherlands which became part of the daily newspapers as well, who are really having a conflict on this whole discussion. And part of the denomination is in favor of female ministry. Other part of the denomination is against female ministry, and they are still in conflict, in fact, fighting about who is right and who is wrong. Because of this more theological debate on gender, on ministry, I should say. So your question is really a very how do you say, topical, a very political question as well, because of the sensitivity of it.
Actually, it's political, but I was going to ask it in two dimensions.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
biblically, what does your church think about it, and also in the human understanding perspective,
Yeah.
what it is about it. But anyway, it's a bit sensitive. We can leave it.
I will look at if there are some declarations on it, and I will share it with you. Yeah. Thank you. It's an invitation for more reflection. Yeah. Okay, and then the third dimension is the environmental dimension. And well, I will go through this dimension in our next class, because then it's still about care for creation. This is about climate change. This is about clean water, clean air, and also the how to prepare for the future in a situation of, well, the phenomenon of temperature of Earth, the phenomenon of all pollution and so on. So the environmental dimension in development, or also related to diaconia, is important one also to reflect on. I will share about an Christian non-governmental organization called Arosha, which is focusing on this aspect of development, the environmental dimension. And then the fourth is the communication dimension. So more in general, we were talking about the importance of communication, the importance of being part of the public debate. Churches should also be aware of their responsibility in society, should communicate, and it's about sharing resources. It's about being the voice of the voiceless, as was being said in the mission department of my church. So then it's still how to communicate, how to share our Christian, how to be a witness of the gospel in a world with so many challenges and with so many goals of development. So it's about our Christian contribution. It's about our Christian responsibility to be part of this whole process of development towards a more sustainable future for all. So that's what I would like to share about the four dimensions in the relation between diaconia and development. So for our next class, we will more focus on environmental dimensions of development. And well, are there other aspects of development you would like to add when it comes to the development goals and when it comes to all what is a future which is sustainable for all? Just to end our class with those, and then that I'm taking as well from the document I had sent you. Just one moment, because I need to put this away. Sorry. I'm going too fast. About diaconal action, that's of course about how to communicate, in fact, how to share with those outside of our communities, how to share diaconia and how to care for the world with others. Diaconal, it's about action. We were already talking before about action. Diaconal action is meaningful in itself. So it's not with other reasons or with other purposes. It is a calling in itself. So it's part of our Christian calling, our Christian calling in words and deeds. They are coming together. Sorry, I'm going too fast again. Diaconal action must be unconditional. It's not a kind of negotiation. It is helping because of our calling. It is not about trying to buy or trying to sell things. It is really helping others because of the fact that we are called to help others. It must respect the integrity of each person and their freedom to express their faith according to their own convictions and traditions. So it is also having respect for the other, always, and being with the other, as we were saying. It must be, it's not related to other goals. It is related to, well, to helping the other without other goals in it. And it is not about, it's not our mission to use diaconal action for other means than only this mean to help the other. It's about, in fact, the needs of the other. We must know, and we must know about the needs of the other in order to be able to help. Diaconal action must be able to interpret reality and processes of social change in a holistic manner. So it's trying to enter into the life of those who are in need, trying to understand why they are in need, and why their need is so complicated, because of well, perhaps lack of education, lack of labor, lack of perspective, lack of relationships. So it's more than only supporting with financial means. It is helping the other because of being with the other. Well, and then it's taking responsibility to witness the message of the church. It is relating diaconia to mission, and I was sharing missionary models. So it is different. You could say we need to make this distinction between diaconia and mission, and at the same time we need to relate diaconia with mission, our mission, which is the message of our church, which is sharing the gospel. So sharing resources includes also sharing the gospel, is sharing the gospel. So that very briefly, I would like to add, to share, and then relating it again to those so-called missionary models. For our next class, I will focus more on this holistic aspect of God's creation, the relation between environment and development cooperation in relation to caring for the world. So these are the slides I would like. I added and I shared already before, asking you also to continue to read the document and also to prepare. And I will send you still some question about this whole care for creation. And so our class of next week will be about, more specifically, about creation and all what is the goals we were seeing. Includes, of course, care for creation. Any question about this part of the presentation?
I think for me, I don't have a question. It's just that I find the information very enlightening and great resources.
Yeah.
And we hope that we can have the slides soon.
Yeah. I will send them, of course. Yeah. Yeah. So I will send them. I will add, and that's some planning for our last two classes coming week, and then the week after. And I hope this will help us also to understand the importance of the church in action. In fact, more in general, the church in action related to our world, and all those global challenges and global issues we were talking about. It's a lot, of course, talking about famine, talking about conflict and war, about conflict of religions, talking also about individualism and the lack of relations among people. So talking about those development goals, which are all those global issues, it's a lot, but we need to be very well, how do you say, very responsible in trying to to discover how a church could respond. And you are already responding through your local church communities, and we are also trying to relate all what we are doing locally with with those global issues we were seeing in this class. So thank you for your sharing. Thank you for your attending, and we will see each other next week.
Thank you so much for the class. See
Thank you.
next week.
God bless
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much for the
Good
class.
night.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
All right.
Bye bye.